are extremely competitive in the global marketplace. Next slide. Over the last 25 or 30 years, the United States has had a sustained deficit overall in trade in goods, generally. Year after year, the United States imports more goods than we export. Next slide. In the case of aerospace products, the United States has trade surpluses. It's absolute contrast to our general picture for goods. Year after year, the United States exports more in aerospace products than we import. U.S. industry is very competitive internationally. Next slide. Second reason to export is to diversify your sales. If you're in Ohio and you're selling to only Ohio, you have a very limited customer base. You may want to sell in other markets in the United States, and you may want to sell in overseas markets like Canada. Next slide. Revenue growth is the third reason. Next slide. In a recent 5-year period, small and medium-sized companies, most of what U.S. aerospace manufacturers are, had revenue growth if they were exporters. Companies that didn't export had a decline in revenues of 7%. Next slide. Go where your customers are. Next slide. When I say go where your customers are, look where Boeing is. 70% of the built aircraft are exported. Most of what we produce in general aviation aircraft is exported. And look at GE aircraft engines. 85% of the engines that GE produced last year were exported. If you're selling parts for GE aircraft engine, your customers are going to be overseas. Next slide. So that's why they export, but why Canada? Next slide. Look at the top 17 markets of where U.S. companies have sold aerospace products outside the United States. This is over a 6-year period, ending last year. Canada is number 3. The third largest aerospace market for U.S. exporters is Canada. It is absolutely huge. Next slide. Another reason to export to Canada is because Canada is a signatory to an agreement in the World Trade Organization on trade in civil aircraft. As a signatory to that agreement, Canada has committed to free trade principles in aircraft, in civil aircraft. No tariffs on complete aircraft, no tariffs on 250 specified parts of the civil aircraft. No customs duties on repair of civil aircraft. No import quotas. Some countries have duty-free entry up to a certain volume of products. Canada is completely open. Canada, the government of Canada also will not discriminate against U.S. companies by requiring customers in Canada to buy from any particular source. It is an open market. Next slide. We have a bilateral aviation safety agreement, a BASTA, with Canada that facilitates the technical aspects of airworthiness approval. Because of this agreement, the Canadian Transport Authority allows entry into U.S. products much more easier than would be the case without this agreement. There's an exception to the U.S. International Traffic in Arms regulations that facilitates the export of military aircraft parts to Canada. Reiner touched on the geographical proximity, absolutely crucial. And of course, even though many in Canada do speak French, by and large, the United States and Canada have a very close common language and a common culture. It's a huge aspect of facilitating trade. Next slide. I've gone through these very quickly, I know. I will be in Cleveland at the end of February and look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Fred, for joining us. And I know with the ice storm in D.C., we had some difficulties, and just so glad that you could join us. And Monica did flawless with your slides. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So the next presenter is Alain Aubertin from Montreal. And Alain, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Very good. So we would like to ask you to introduce yourself, and you have asked to share the CREAC website, so it's now displaying for everyone.
Perfect. Thank you, Monica. So, yes, I'm pleased to be present this morning with you, and I had the pleasure to be in Columbus last November to attend the industrial OAI industrial meeting. And today, what I would like to go with you is to go to different points to point out the offer of CRIAC, which is a consortium for research and innovation in aerospace, strongly based in Montreal, Quebec, but more and more involved in other parts of Canada. We have already participants and partners from Ontario, from Manitoba, from Vancouver, so therefore we're establishing more and more bridges between different provinces to build up partnerships. So what I would like to do this morning is to go through our website very rapidly in order to point out a couple of elements. First of all, if we go in the portion about CRIAC, do you follow me now?
Yes, I follow you. Go ahead.
Okay, so if we go directly to our offer, what we do is we're a broker. We're sort of broker with cash. So we're connecting the people, we're connecting the expertises, we're connecting the companies with the industrial partners that with whom they want to work. We're connecting the people also within the research communities. So you'll see there all our service. And our first service per se is that we are actively working with all the partners to build solid partnerships. It is research and innovation partnerships, so therefore it can range projects from TRL very low at between 2 and 4 to up to 6 and 7. So depending on the scope of the project, depending on the objectives that the partners are pursuing, we can assist them to build these partnerships. The second thing I would like to show you is how we are organized. We have a board of directors which is very open. Every partners who join CRIAC has a seat on the board of directors, and on that instance, if you will, on that board, 18 members have a voting veto to any decisions regarding the CRIAC ecosystem, and this is only a portion of that board which is more closed, but let's recall that every member has a seat on the board. The other committee is the research committee, where everybody can exchange information, can interact, can share ideas, and in an open format, which is essential for our ecosystem to accelerate the development of good ideas and good technologies. The third element I would like to go through is our membership. It was mentioned earlier that around Montreal you have access to all the potential partners to build an aircraft, and you see with this list of partners that it's obviously a large community of people sharing ideas and participating in different projects in the consortium. We have also universities involved. Basically, all the universities, the faculty of engineering of the province of Quebec are involved, but more and more we have also University of Toronto, from Ottawa, Vancouver, University of Manitoba. So we have all the links and all the collaborators in place to facilitate any partnerships that you may have in Canada. We have also several industrial partners who are basically U.S. strong companies. We have GE on board too, BFI, who is working on a project with partners around recycling of parts, recycling of airplane parts, and we've been so far discussing also with Northrop Grumman and Boeing regarding potential partnerships with some companies here in Canada. And so I encourage you to go through these channels, and we can assist you. The third thing I would like to cover with you is how we work in terms of these research and development or partnerships. We have an envelope to finance some projects, so therefore that's why we can say that we are not only connecting the people, but also we're investing in these research projects. You see here the research teams that we cover. We cover basically all fields of interest of professionals and researchers. So therefore, you have already communities of researchers and professionals connected around these teams from Quebec, from Ontario, from everywhere else in Canada. And so far, we've been building projects for more than $1 million of value of projects with industrial cash and public funds also. The other thing I would like to underline this morning is how we build international collaboration. We build international collaborations in a similar format around ideas coming from industries with researchers pooled around these ideas, and that creates real partnerships. But for international collaboration, it's important to take into consideration that we must have a funding mechanism in place in each country. That's why in that figure you see that this is a Canadian portion of a project for which we have a company based in Quebec or in Ontario with a public funding mechanism allowing the support for the research tasks. And let's say that this is a U.S. or Ohio-based company who wants to initiate a relationship with a partner in Canada around a research endeavor with a university or research center. We believe that this mechanism can allow overall partners to work around some technology development, tech demo, different things. So this has been so far quite successful with different partners around the world. And regarding the IP related to these projects, we don't own any IP. Partners are negotiating kind of arrangements with the parties around the projects. We are quite familiar to recognize all the background intellectual property that may be put forward by a partner, and of course this is well recognized and has to be agreed upon at the signature of any agreement, of course. During the course of the project, we will probably also generate new intellectual property, and so therefore we're quite familiar with all our projects to negotiate and assist people to make these arrangements successful.
Okay.
To finish this presentation, I just want to go to this part of the website, which is the web community, on which and you can go there and register yourself. And it's a community allowing everybody